Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to share my screen. Can you see my screen, guys? Please type in the chat that you can see my screen. Okay, perfect. Perfect. So what we are going to do today, we want to share 8 LinkedIn best practices from demand generation to social selling. And that's why I have partnered today with a good friend of mine, Stefan Smulders, founder of Expand.io. I know that lots of you are aware of this software. Lots of you love this software. So we are going to share all our knowledge. We don't want just to give you hacks or high level stuff. We want to give you practical advice so you can implement it immediately after the webinar. So let's start. First of all,
maybe before we start, Andre, I think first of all, it's good to mention that we will record, because I saw some questions in the chat, and I think in between we are not able to answer all the questions. So for everyone, we will record the webinar, and after the webinar, we will send, if you watch it, watch it over. Correct, Andre?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So I hit.
So no worries for nothing. Even if we tell everything only once, you will watch it afterwards as well.
Yes, don't worry about the recording. So just a few hours after the webinar, I will send it to you. So check an email from Andrei Zinkovich, and you'll receive it with the slides and with all the links we'll be sharing during this event. So don't worry about this. A quick question: can you please type in the chat where you're from? So it's really interesting to see where all of you folks are coming from. India, Bulgaria, UK, Utah, Manchester, Croatia. Welcome.
International.
Yes, Georgia, Ukraine, Canada, Portugal, Ireland. Wow, cool. Netherlands, France, Switzerland. So we have a really international. Mexico. So super cool. So we have people across the globe. So that's really cool. Okay, so let's start. First of all, let me quickly present the agenda. So we promised to share 8 best practices about LinkedIn. So I'm going to talk about 4 points. First of all, I'm going to share with you how to grow your LinkedIn network with the target audience. And when it comes to target audience, most people tend to think, okay, I need to, to connect with executives of my target accounts, and you shouldn't be limited only by this target audience. So I'm going to share with you the 4 groups you need to connect with and why. Next, I'm going to talk about practical ways of building relationship with your target audience. If you'll open a LinkedIn, if you are following some influencers or thought leaders, you have probably seen multiple times that people are talking about building relationship with your audience. It's critical for your business success, etc. But the most interesting part then that if you'll ask a question like, how can you actually build that relationship? Most people will never answer that question. So I will share my experience. Next, I'm going to share with you practical examples of how to capture the demand and progressively profile your prospects so you can learn more about their needs, about their challenges, and you'll be able to personalize your offer. And the last point I'm going to cover is actually the question you might be having, how to convert your conversations into discovery calls without sounding as a perky sales rep. This is critical, I feel, for all people in sales and marketing. And then I will give a word to Stefan, and he is going to share about 3 best converting search tactics, new connection request tactic, personalized image strategy, and simple omnichannel sales approach. So A few words about us, because people were coming from my network, from my community as well. People were coming from Stefan's network. So my name is Andrei Zinkovich. I am co-founder at fullfunnel.io. We are a consultant company where we provide full funnel B2B marketing services for tech and service-based companies. As well, I am running a marketing planning software called ROIplan. This is software for marketing, for B2B marketing and sales teams, to orchestrate all your marketing campaigns in one place. I wrote a book last year, which is called LinkedIn B2B Marketing Inbound. And this book was included in the top 100 best B2B marketing books of all time by Book Authority. And let me know if any of you have heard about this book. Just type in the chat if you have heard about it or read it. So curious to see how many people have seen it. As well, I am running B2B marketers and founders community on Facebook, the same the same platform where Stefan is running his LinkedIn group. And I spent 15 years in B2B marketing and sales so far. So that's it about me. A few words about Stefan. He's serial SaaS entrepreneur. He's founder of Expanded.io, world's safest software for LinkedIn automation. He is Forbes Consul's member, and he is main contributor to the BAMF LinkedIn Community Bible. If you know that community, badass marketers and founders, which Houston Golden is running that community. So you have probably read that ebook and have seen articles from Stefan. So that's it about us. Let's dive in. And let's start with the point one, growing your LinkedIn network with the target audience. First of all, I want to share with you 4 types of audiences you need to connect with. And as I mentioned, you shouldn't be limited just by executives. Obviously, you need to connect with people who belong to your ideal customer profile, people that work for a company that fit your ICP, people who are decision makers, but as well, you need to connect with the buying committee. If you are prospecting, let's say, mid-size or enterprise companies, you'll always deal with the buying committee. You need to engage with so-called champions, people who might be in charge of research, or people who might be doing the first discovery calls with your company. You need to connect with potential influencers, like let's pretend in my case, or let's pretend in case of Expendi. If you are, like, let's say, reaching to enterprise company, marketing might be an influencer, or head of growth, let's say a chief marketing officer might be an influencer, because sales might reach out and say, this is what we want to implement, but marketing might say, okay, we don't think that it could be a good solution. You should do all the, all the LinkedIn engagement manually without having automations, because we have heard, let's say, negative opinions about it. Or on contrary, marketing can be a positive influencer. They can say, okay, you definitely should buy it because we have heard multiple, or we have read multiple positive opinions about Expendi. So that's why you need to connect with these people as well. And you might connect with blockers. So people who might potentially be blocking an opportunity with your product. So it could be an IT, department, and they might say, okay, we don't feel that, I don't know, Expendi or ROIplan or any other tech solution is dangerous, or it doesn't fit our IT infrastructure or whatever. So just to give you an idea. Next, we have event organizers. And basically, we all know that virtual events, events where your target audience hang out might be a good opportunity for, first of all, for your brand, for brand awareness. It also helps to boost your credibility. You can always add to your company that you are regularly talking at these events. So this is a fantastic social proof, and that's why you need to connect with these people as well. And co-pilots. So the last group are people that have the same audience, but sell different solutions to your ICP. Like in our case, so this is how we are collaborating with Stefan right now. So we provide different services, we provide different solutions, but basically we have the same target audience. And this is an example of, let's say, of collaboration when it comes to group number 4. So these 4 groups help you to connect with your target audience. And if you know a little bit LinkedIn algo, you know that if these people engage with your content, if you'll be sharing anything, and that's why I mentioned my book. So if you are sharing any type of content on LinkedIn and these people engage with this content, you'll be regularly appearing in the newsfeed of your target accounts. That's why it's important to connect with these 4 groups. Now, the question is how to connect and what should be, what should we, this question I actually receive all the time. What should we write in our connection request? And from my experience, the best reason to connect is a common interest. And you can see like examples. I saw that you're also following Command F. Just listen to the workshop Casey Graham and Josh Rhodes hosted. Absolutely loved it. Would like to connect with a like-minded person. Just to give you an idea, I have joined Revenue Genius community and saw that you're a member. I live and breathe B2B marketing since 2007. Would love to be connected here and share the knowledge. Have a great day. So you can see this is the best way. You have communities, you have common people you might be following. Lots of things. Stefan will be later sharing some more examples of like search and personalization based on the common interest. But this is one of the most common, let's say, one of the best probably ways to connect with your target audience. And you can automate this process easily. In my case, just you can see the stats from Expendi, like 9 from 10 people will accept your personalized connection request. So this always happens. This is an example from a campaign that where I was connecting with Revenue Genius community members. But with any campaign I'm running, I mean, the previous examples I have shared with people I'm following, etc. The results more or less are like this. So it's like above 80% of people accept my connection request. So just to end it up with action steps for you. Find a person or LinkedIn group or hashtag your target audience is following. Write down what you like about this person or group. If you decide to connect with hashtag followers, write down the reason you are following this tag. You can mention as well some of your favorite contributors of some of your favorite posts you have seen when you are searching for this tag. And then you can simply set up a connector campaign in Expendi and connect with 30 people on a daily basis. That's it. And this is how you can grow your audience. Now, the next question is how to build a relationship with your active audience. This is the most common question. And I mentioned like lots of people are talking about this, but rarely people are talking about practical ways how to build the relationship. So to answer that question, I feel that we need to quote or to cite a famous Dale Carnegie. I assume lots of you have heard about him. Or at least, heard, or I hope you read some of his books. And basically, there is a famous quote I want to share with you. You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. And this is like the best rule when it comes to LinkedIn. So from my point of view, the best way is you need to learn more about your audience and try to help. So once you are connecting with these people, what I'm doing, I'm regularly sending the message like this one. So you can see practical examples. It's just one of the examples. It's not like a silver bullet. I don't send the typical messages for all of them. Of course, I change it depending on the audience, but you'll get the idea. So I say something like, I wanted to thank you for being an active member of my network and wanted to learn more about you, what services your company provides, what verticals do you serve, What are your 2021 plans? Looking forward to learn more about you. And how you can define this active network. Again, if you are doing LinkedIn demand generation, if you are regularly sharing content on LinkedIn, you'll see lots of people who are engaging with your content, people who are visiting your profile, people who are sending connection requests, people who might be visiting your website. You can set up, lead feeder or Albacross for IP identification, and you can just add like a link from your profile to your website, and you'll be seeing people who are visiting the website from your profile, and that audience should be considered as your, let's say, active audience, and you can reach them out. Again, it's just one of the examples, and your goal is to learn more about these people, and try to help. Like in another example, you can see I say something like, a person replies to me, "Thanks for connecting. We're actually in the process of hiring our first marketing person at company. Any tips you have are very much appreciated." And I simply say, "This is great. If you want, we can have a quick chat next week. You'll describe me the business and I will give you some tips on the hiring process and OKRs. Or you can just share it here and I will come with some tips." So that's it. And again, I invite this person to my community. This is how I can help. I say that I'm running that community. You can join, and I allow you to post something in my community. Of course, not all of you, not every of you will have that community, but it's just an idea. So think about how you can help this person, and that's the best way of building that relationship. And the best part is that you can automate this process as well. In Expander, what I'm doing, actually, you can see just one of the examples, the campaign that I'm running right now. So 79 people are in that campaign, and actually you can see that almost 32% are replying to your message, which is great. So let's say every third person will reply to your message, and this is how you can learn more about them. This is how you can build a relationship. And there is a question like, it's not scalable, but it's not. But from my point of view, relationship building is not a scalable process. It's better to focus on the, let's say, tier 1 accounts. I am a big fan of account-based marketing approach. So it's way better to focus on the accounts that can, let's say, have the accounts that have the highest revenue potential, and try to build the relationship with these people, and that in terms of business results, it always will outperform, the mass market approach, where you'll try. Still you can do, mass market outreach for tier 3 accounts, so the accounts with the lowest revenue potential. But for tier 1s, I always prefer this personal one-to-one interaction. Next, action steps for you. So define your active target audience. These are people who engaged with your content, attended events, joined your newsletter, etc. So the same like today, you can connect with people who attended this webinar. You can connect with them, say something like, "Guys, we watched this webinar by Andre and Stefan, so like would love to connect with like-minded person," and you know how to proceed, how to move forward. Write a message thanking them for being an active part of your network, and ask about their current goals and priorities. And as I mentioned, you can set up this messenger campaign and expand and connect with 30 people on a daily basis. You can increase the number maybe later, but like I feel for security reason, maybe Stefan will tell that I'm wrong, but I will say that probably for security reason, it's better to limit your outreach to 30 people per day. Next, capture the demand and progressively profile your prospects to come up with a personalized offer. So first of all, let me describe for you who are not aware what progressive profiling means. So this is a process where you learn more. Basically, on LinkedIn, you can see like a public information about the person and the company. So you can see the job role, maybe the responsibilities, etc. At the company's page, you can see the vertical, the team size, geography. But you'll never be able to see, let's say, the needs or the goals or the challenges these specific people and these specific companies have. And this is the goal of progressive profiling. Basically, you need to learn step by step about more about the needs, the challenges, or the goals of people from your target accounts. How can you do it? First of all, you can capture the audience that might be interested in your product with case studies. So in this case, we have a prerequisite. You need to have a case study, a good case study, obviously. You can see a post that I have posted like 2 weeks ago. It was about account-based marketing, and you can see actually like almost 300 people left a comment under that post. So they were saying like, I'm interested, share with me, etc. That's the best, that's the best way to capture the demand. So you can see like what audience might be interested in that stuff. Guys, please mute yourself. I am sorry for this. Okay, so almost 300 people left a comment, and this is the best way, how you can identify the audience that is interested in your service. Next, you can automate the delivery process and follow up with the service. So in Expandio, you can set up the search, people who engaged with any given post on LinkedIn. It shouldn't be even your post. It can be a post of your co-founder, founder, CEO, or like doesn't matter, a post of any LinkedIn member. And in my case, what I was doing, I was just setting up an automated delivery. Once people leave a comment, I was reaching out saying like, say something, hey Ryan, thanks for being interested in my ABM case study, just published it. If you like it, can you please leave a short feedback in the comments or tag me in the post, and a link to the case study. Next, 2 days later, I am sending a follow-up saying like, wanted to follow up and ask your feedback about the case study I have shared with you. Did you like it? Was it insightful? And I say that I'm working on a new ABM playbook. And I want to ask you for a favor. I have created a short questionnaire just for questions about your experience with ABM. Can you please help me? And a link to survey. And this is the best way, as you can see. You can just, of course, not everybody will fill it in, but anyway, part of the people will do it. And this is how you can collect more information about your target accounts. Just to give you a practical example. So what can you do? You can include the so-called challenge question to your survey. And in this particular case, just a second. I ask a question, what is your #1 challenge with account-based marketing? And people provide me in-depth answers like the #1 challenge is account alignment between sales and marketing. Sales will always want to market to their target accounts, while marketing will always want to market towards the accounts that the message will most resonate with, etc. Then I ask like, which of the following playbook titles resonates most with you? And this is how you can learn more about the people. It's like you just need to reverse engineer this tactic and apply to your business. You can ask about whatever, like if I were head of growth at Expandio, let's say, I'd reach out and say, what are the #1 challenge with your outreach? Have you ever tried any LinkedIn outreach software? And this is how basically I'd be able to learn more about like the needs of my target accounts. And then once you know the answer, you can simply just personalize your offer. That's it. So action steps for you. Write down a post promoting a case study related to your product and ask people to comment if they are interested. This is what I always do to just, I love to call this process like seeding a grain, before publishing any case study. I just see if there is any interest in that case study. Are people, do they want to learn more about it? And if yes, this is how I try to capture this demand. And then I can see, you see all the comments, you see if these companies, let's say, if these people, fit your ideal customer profile, and you can start these conversations. So that's it. Next, create a survey that will help you to learn more about the challenges your prospects have that your product solves. Set up a messenger or connector or connector campaign in Expanded to deliver your case study, and set up follow-up message 2 days later with a link to the survey. So this is very effective, and this is how you can learn more about your target accounts. And point number 4, where I want to share with you how to convert your conversations into a discovery call without sounding like a perky sales rep. I will give you some practical examples, but before sharing it, let me ask a quick question. How do you find it so far? Were these tips I have shared with you valuable and useful? Let me know in the chat. Just a quick feedback. Straight value, very helpful. Yes, thanks, amazing. Awesome, very valuable. Thanks a lot, guys. This means a lot to me. Just keep in mind that you don't need to switch off, because that would be a Stefan's part, and you'll have lots of actionable tips waiting for you. If you don't mind, if you have an open Twitter or Facebook or LinkedIn, I would be very grateful if you'll write down a short testimonial about this webinar and tag me and Stefan. Unfortunately, you won't be able to tag Stefan on LinkedIn, but you can tag him on Facebook and on Twitter, and it will mean a lot for us. So let's move forward. The most common LinkedIn outreach that ends up being marked as spam. I don't know if you have ever sent a message like this, but I feel that lots of you definitely have received a message like this. So, hello, I look into mobile apps development. We can design whatever you want. This is what we can do. Just let me know if you are interested. Let's have this discovery call. The only question I have, what made you think that I'm interested in this stuff? Just because I have a title co-founder of like B2B SaaS platform? That's crazy. Like, this is the worst way to do outreach. And this is how, like in most cases, this is just marked as spam, and that's it. And this is how LinkedIn, you can end up with, getting a ban from LinkedIn. So never do this stuff, and never use automation, to scale this. Let's say, just from my point of view, this is the shittiest way to do outreach. So never do it at scale. So what can you do? Research your network and reach out with the content that might be helpful. I am a big fan that on the, let's say, top of your outreach, top layer of your outreach should be content. And this is how marketing and sales should be aligned. You need to have these case studies. You need to have these good articles or guides. If you'll visit Expand's blog or my company, Full Funnel, if you'll visit our blogs, you'll see lots of good detailed articles. And this is the best way how you can reach out to people. You can see a practical example. So if I see that person fits my ideal customer profile, what I'm doing, I'm saying something. Let's pretend, Stefan, I noticed that, let's say, Expendi provides IT security and consulting services. And I recently published a case study. How did I help a custom software development company to generate 300K in sales pipeline from one campaign? Thought it might be valuable for you. And I don't send a link to my website, but I send a link to a LinkedIn post. And this is critical, because you are not moving person from the platform, and a person, this person might be might be reading this from smartphone, so the person stays on LinkedIn, and they can visit this post. They can see, fortunate, like it would be really great if this post has some engagement. If no, doesn't matter anyway. So the person stays on the platform, they see a value, and this is how basically you can start the conversation. And in most cases, of course, like again, I don't say that you'll get 100% positive reply rate, that people will tell, oh, like, where you were, I was waiting for you, so I'm looking forward to your case study. Of course, no, but lots of people will reply positively and say, yeah, definitely share this to me. So your next step would be, following up and asking if the content was helpful. Like you can see a practical example. Did you have a chance to check the case study? Curious to hear your feedback. Have a great day. And then I say like a person replied to me, I'm sorry, I haven't. I will read it now. Thanks for reminding me. And I say something like, no worries at all. So I provide the reason why I'm following up. No worries at all. The reason I sent a follow-up is that the case study is about the company from a similar industry as yours. And I'm really curious if you found some insights you can implement. So that's it. And if the content was helpful, you can suggest now, call and share best practices or answer the question. So that's the easiest way. I say something like, if you'd be interested, we can jump next week on a call. I will answer your questions and provide some ideas on how to implement it at your company. So that's the best way how you can do it. You know, just say, like, if it was a post, let's say, about LinkedIn outreach, you can say, let's jump in. I will share with you some best practices of LinkedIn outreach and show how you can do it and expand it, or how you can scale this outreach or whatever. That's the easiest way, and that's it. So action steps for you. Find engaged ICPs from your network. You might have conversation with these people. Set up a messenger campaign in Expanded to share a case study with your network, or send it manually. Again, depending on the context of previous conversations. And if they say the content was helpful, suggest scheduling a call and share best practices or answer the questions. And this is your opportunity to present your product. You don't need to push them, you know, you don't need to even sell your product. You just need to share like the native way of doing like something. And depending, like if you are selling software like Expandy, then you can just share some best practices how you can set up campaigns in Expandy. If you are selling services, then you can share some case studies or some testimonials or whatever, depending on what service you are selling. And this is the best way. So these are 4 very useful tactics you can start leveraging literally from today. So that's it from my part. I'm going to give a mic to Stefan, and I will stop sharing my screen right now. Stefan, can you please try sharing screen?
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Stefan. I hope everybody can hear me properly. If that's not the case, then just leave a comment. And before I start, I want to thank you all for joining. It's an impressive number of attendees. And I really hope you will take advantage of the interesting case studies Andre shared. And it will be hard for me to reach the same level, but I will definitely do my best. I just walked through the attendees list, and I see a lot of well-known people. So welcome all again. And a lot of people I do not know yet. So for these ones who do not know me yet, I'm Stefan. I'm the founder of Expandy. And actually my daily job is playing around and testing tons of new strategies to achieve the best results on LinkedIn. We all know that the rules of the game are slowly changing because we are with so many people. But before I'm going to start telling, let's first see if I can share my screen with my 2 left hands. So give me 1 second. Yeah, I guess my screen is shared. So yes. Can everybody confirm that that you can see it as well here? Okay, great. Yeah, we are all very active on LinkedIn, and if you use LinkedIn, it's still a goldmine, right? But because a simple fact that that so many people are doing outreach on LinkedIn, and along more than 10K profiles, I see all the actions people are doing, at least in Expandy. Unfortunately, I see that too many people are still using some boring, outdated templates, which were working perfectly in 2015, but not at the moment anymore. And LinkedIn is actually also not that happy with all these overused and outdated approaches, because the main problem of LinkedIn at the moment is actually all the
It's
spam.
worthwhile to listen to what Stefan has to say.
Sorry? I think somebody was not muted, right? But yeah, feel always free otherwise to share. Thanks, Andre. I'm back. So sorry for the interruption. Yeah, what I actually tried to say is that it will be more important than ever before to come up with better strategies and ideas to stand out of all the people. And then I'm talking about maybe 600-700 million people who are active on LinkedIn at the moment. And we all know the messages, and we saw, maybe we received some similar messages as, hey, first name, I came across your profile and I see we have some mutual connections, so let's connect. And I was managing an agency myself, and actually somewhere around 3 years ago, these messages were performing perfectly, but unfortunately not that good anymore. So actually what I see is that LinkedIn will flag the behavior of all the LinkedIn users if it's, for example, not in line with what the receiver wants to see. For the people who know me, I wrote tons of in-depth step-by-step guides with very intelligent strategies, how you can get the most out of LinkedIn. And what I want to do today is just give you some handy and practical tips. For example, some search strategies which will help you increase the acceptance rate, because that's the starting point. And from what I heard is that if LinkedIn is going on with level up all these things, then they most likely will expect that you will achieve an acceptance rate from somewhere around 60%. That seems a little bit scary, but it's definitely doable. It's just the fact that we all have to come out of our comfort zones and try to explore new things. So that's what I try to do today, to just give you some practical inspiration about what you all can do. And I always say that I have 2 left hands, but you see it here that it's hard for me even to just click on a button. But here we are. We can search people and build our list on a couple different ways. And I've played around and tested a lot of things, and I definitely think that scraping data from other resources is still very interesting to do, but it's not always a 100% match. If you, for example, scrape people from a Facebook group, and it's a little bit harder to do because you need multiple tools to execute such strategies. Just to make it just easy for all of you, I want to share, let's say, some interesting Sales Navigator searches I have tested previously with some very good results. And I've played around for more than 100 times myself with the post engagement. And so that means actually that you can scrape and import anyone's post into Expandy and engage with all the people who like and commented on that specific post. You can easily search by an hashtag, but I will tell you a bit more about that. And that specific strategy has never given me a lower acceptance rate than 60%. And mostly of the times it's even higher. And so to help you a bit more, let's first start with some great news, and that's that Expandy will release by end of the week 2 brand new search types where I expect a lot of. One of them is the event search. Events are becoming much more popular on LinkedIn, especially because we are all working online and remote, at least most of us. And that search type allows you that if you attend that search, then you can copy it and import it into Expandy, similar as you do with the post engagement. And then we will scrape and import all the people who attend such an event. And then you can approach these people with a common interest. And therefore they are most likely more interested to accept your connection request. Another search type we will release by end of the week as well is the poll search. I see a lot of poll on LinkedIn where people ask questions and where they ask for your opinion, right, about a specific topic. But some of these great polls have tons of people who are commenting on such a poll. So we will make it easy for you by a couple of clicks to just scrape that poll and import all the people who contribute and answered such a poll. So that can be very easy to use, similar as you do on the post engagement. But let's first start with some practical tips about how you can do a post engagement, because I expect here are also a lot of people who are not using Expandia and who are maybe not that familiar with such a search type. Now, LinkedIn is full of content, and that means that you can easily search by a hashtag on content on LinkedIn, and then you can select in a basic search bar after you search by, for example, a hashtag for a specific post topic. That's actually the most easiest way to do. But even if you have some influencers or industry leaders in your area, then it's also doable to go to their profiles and see which interesting content they produced. And then just with a couple of mouse clicks, as you see on the screen, you copy the post link, you pass it in Expandia, and boom, within just 2 clicks and a couple of minutes, we will import all the people who engaged with such a post. And mostly of the times it will give on average a 72% acceptance rate if you execute it properly. And what I mean with execute it properly is that you can search for posts on different ways. You can do it with an own post. Let's say you create a post and it has a lot of engagement, maybe as Andre mentioned, because of you promote it in groups, or you use it in your own outreach and ask people to reply on it as well. And then you can easily import all the people who engage with your post, and you can follow up them within a couple of clicks. What you also can do is looking for posts from competitors. And I guess for all of us, there are some competitors on LinkedIn. And if you found these competitors, then you can easily see if they produce some content, and then you can copy the post and import it. And then they have maybe in common interest because they already engage or like that specific topic from your competitor, which will make it much more easier for yourself to approach these people, or at least to connect with them because of the common interest. You can also search for an influencer and find a relevant influencer in your target market and outreach and connect with all these people. And you can actually scrape anyone and every post on LinkedIn and do the same strategy. So by end of the week, we will allow you to do exactly the same as just with the same easy amount of clicks for events. And I just walked through LinkedIn and I saw tons and tons of interesting events. So that one will definitely be great to take advantage of in the beginning, because nobody is using it actually at the moment. And similar for the polls. And what can you do, for example, in Sales Navigator? I always recommend that if you use any type of automation or third-party apps on LinkedIn, it's actually not that bad. Also for the trust on LinkedIn to buy in Sales Navigator subscription. Besides the fact that people can more easily find you, it will give you also tons of opportunities to just make better searches. And actually, because of that, I think Sales Navigator is a very interesting add-on on LinkedIn to make some hyper-targeted searches. And I'm not that advanced with very intelligent Boolean searches, and sometimes that's actually what you need to get the best out of the data. But last month I played around with some easy to use Sales Navigator search strategies, which will gave me 50 or plus % acceptance rate. And one of these strategies is that I run from search on Sales Navigator to second degree connections. That's always what I should advise, that if you approach and build your list, try to find as much second degree connections as possible. And then I search for people who have changed their job roles in the last 90 days. And as you see here on the screen, then maybe for the ones who are familiar with Sales Navigator, you can see here that you can select a tab, and then it will pop up only the people which changed their job roles. So it could be very interesting and a nice icebreaker to catch up with these people and to just congrats them on the new job role before you approaching or ask them anything else. And that will make it much more easier to connect with them because they are very happy that you congrats them on the new role. So I always try to select second degree connections. And in this case, I selected people which changed job roles in the last 90 days. And on top of that, for people who are actively using Sales Navigator, we all know that there's a filter in Sales Navigator where you also can select groups. And then you can select a group as in common interest. And that means that you can make a much more warmer connection request. And because then beside that you are part of the same group and you just want to say hi straight away and congrats them with a new job role, you have two things in common. That's the group, and you want to make a nice gesture because of the congrats. So actually I played around and with this one, and more than 3 times and thousands of people in the campaign, it all the times gave me this percentage of acceptance rate. And I think just for a Sales Navigator search, it's a really nice number because I see a lot of people are struggling with what's the best way to do. And nobody likes to spend a lot and tons of time to build lists and to convert them into LinkedIn profiles and to play around with not that easy to use CSV files. So I think actually beside of the post strategy, this is a very easy to use, which will also give you a high acceptance rate. And of course, in a couple of minutes, I will share also some examples from connection requests you can use, which belongs to these type of search strategies. And the third one, I played around with this one as well last month. And similar as the previous one, I did a Sales Navigator search as well. But in this case, I selected also second degree connections, but in this case, people which did a post in the last 30 days, which means that these people are much more active than the other ones in the list. And if I select only this tab, and then I outreaching and connecting with only people which are more active than the others, so the chance that they will see my request and that they will approve it will be higher as well. And besides the fact that I just selected the second degree connections and people which have posted in the last 30 days, I experiment a bit with the school filter. So I was just searching in our case for people which had done a growth hacking course. But you can find maybe a kind of a course which is related to your business topic or from your audience. And then you can select these ones as well. And then only outreaching people which have, again, such a common interest, because then you can ask them a question about their experiences with this course and that you're a fan of that course as well. So this actually are very easy to use search strategies for the people who have Sales Navigator at least, and for the ones who not have Sales Navigator, the post engagement strategy is by far, and I really tested it, played around with it for more than 100 times myself, and I never ever achieved a lower acceptance rate than 60%. You don't need SalesNav for that, and that can be used by everyone. The challenge will always be to find the right post, but LinkedIn is filled with tons of content, so no worries for that. Just spend some time on finding a quality post with enough engagement on the post. And if you can manage that, then I can almost grant you that your acceptance rate will be much more higher than the current strategies you executed at the moment. And then the second and the next question is, what about the messaging? So after doing such kind of searches, which kind of messages can I actually send? I also saw some questions come by in the chat for some examples. I explained a couple of message types, and I make some funny jokes about this kind of messages. And unfortunately, we all still receive too many of these kind of questions and connection requests. So I think they are a bit outdated, and we really have to level up the outreach and the quality in what we are doing. So I hope that these kind of search strategies will contribute to make better searches for yourself, because the fact that you have more in common, it's logical next step that you can also make much more better content. And some examples of the connection requests is that for the last one I covered, I've played around with this connection request. Oh, there's my mouse. So we did the same growth hacking course, and that's a first name. I visited your LinkedIn profile recently. Yes, I really did. And notice you've completed the growth hacking course. As a fan myself, just curious how you take advance of it. And it will give me tons of people which not only accept the request, but from themselves start the conversation. It's not about making an appointment, but at least building a relationship. And at the end, it's all about that. And I think Andre mentioned it a couple times as well. That's the starting point. You want to be different, and you want not the same as all the 30 other messages they constantly receive in their inbox. The second search strategy I shared was that I selected the tab change job roles in the last 90 days. Such kind of a connection request here helped me get more than 60% acceptance rate along more than 1,000 people in the campaign. So, hey, yo, first name, I just popped open the champagne and I saw you started out with a new role. Kudos to you. I realized we are in the same, and then you can mention on top of it the group name, because that's an additional filter you set in that search type. And the last one is about scraping posts, but you can do similar things if you're scraping an event or if you engage with people which also filled in a poll question on LinkedIn. I see that the more fun you make in your connection request, it will help for people to give more lovely replies back. So the last one, if you scrape and post, you can say as a joke, knock, knock. Now you're supposed to say who's there, just to stand out of the rest and do it a little bit different than most of the people do. And just kidding. I saw you're also a fan of the post name in this, the author name in this case, about the post topic. I love it too. Let's connect. Each and every time, 60 plus, 70 plus % acceptance rate. I just keep in mind that playing a bit around with the jokes and make sure that the author name and the post topics, that you at least read everything in the post, that you know what's all about and that you name the right post topics. But I take a note of these ones, and I'm happy to hear afterwards if these kind of connection requests might help you as well to get a higher acceptance rate together with the search strategies. and based on the ones I shared on the previous page, these were some replies from people which accept the connection request. And that's most likely because they are different and because you have more in common, because the searches were more targeted. So you can mention some extra common interests. So actually, I think that's not bad, right? Yeah, for the people who are following Expandi for a while and doing LinkedIn outreach, we took 6 months ago LinkedIn outreach to the next level. And actually we invented together with our Hyperice friends the future of personalized LinkedIn outreach. And we were the first one which made it happen to embed personalized images and even better GIF animations into your LinkedIn messaging. So within just a couple of clicks, you can connect Expandi, your Hyperice account to your Expandi, and that will allow you to use all the Hyperice images you've built in your library over there as a follow-up in your LinkedIn message sequence you send through Expandi. And really, yeah, I think after signing up for Hyperice, you can trial it out for 14 days for free as well, which means that if you created your account over there, you can go to API settings, create a token, copy that token, go to the profile settings of Expandi, just as you see on the screen here, boom, you paste the code in there, you sync it, and all the images you've built in Hyperice are available in Expandi as well, and you can use them on top of your messages. And that one will give you definitely an uplift in the reply rate. Because after people accept your connection request, you have to keep on going with the conversation. You don't want to be that salesy. That's some very important points Andre told as well. I think maybe it's a bit much too light here, so let's see if I can make it a little bit. Oh, 1 second. Sorry. Okay. So what you can do in this case is interrupt the patterns, which will mean that people are not receiving constantly the same messages. You can minimize the ask. I see people, they are approaching eventually already in the connection request, and it's not going perfectly here, Andre. Sorry for that. Let's see if I can manage something.
No worries, but we have live masterclass right now.
Yeah, but
Cool.
I always tell people normally if I'm in a demo that I really have 2 left hands, but I kindly think this is actually the proof of it, right? So I even can't code anything, but I can't even manage some light functions here on my laptop. So I leave it for what it is, and I will just keep on going with sharing some hopefully valuable insights for all of you. And so what you actually can do, just a small recap, you can interrupt the patterns, and boom, you can approach people by minimize the ask and just send really cool thank you after accepting. A really cool whiteboard, for example, instead of approaching with a long sentence, you can just minimize the ask and ask a cool question in a follow-up message, but then send through a personalized GIF animation, which you can easily create yourself and upload through your mobile phone. Or for the ones who are lazy, just like me, just go to giphy.com and search there for a really cool GIF animation, and then you can drop in Hyperice and use there some personalization with the profile image, maybe the website, or just a company logo. And actually, that will definitely help you to get better results. And people ask me constantly what kind of images I should use in that case. For the ones who will decide to use Expandi together with Hyperice, I think it's definitely Word, because the hyperized library is already filled with more than 70 image in their library. So you can take advantage of it, use them yourself, test and play around, or even use them for inspiration and just make a similar animation yourself from yourself or one of your team members. And in the beginning, people expect normally after the connection request, because of all the spam, that everyone is start doing an approach and ask for an appointment, or just send over 10 sentences with too many content. And in this case, you can just easily thank people for the connection and just send a nice GIF animation from yourself with your thumbs up or whatever, just to thank, instead of approaching people immediately. It will give you for sure more positive replies, but also more loved replies, because you stand out of the rest. It helps you to build better relationships with people. And it's not all about approaching immediately. And unfortunately, it's not 2015 anymore. So we have to deal with the fact that the rules of the game are slowly changing. And I'm 100% sure the automation will never disappear, because where a lot of manual tasks to do, we have to automate, but it's actually also the people behind. We have to all came out of our comfort zones and to try to explore new strategies and play around with new workflows, which will help you doing less outreach. And so it's not needed anymore with using these kind of personalization to keep on going with sending 70, 80, 90, or even more connection requests and follow-up messages per day, because more people will reply on the less amount of image animations you send. So you actually need to do less outreach, which is more quality and in lines of what LinkedIn wants to see. One day after, you can build a sequence where you put the CTA image, the light, the prospect. That's actually using the personalization in a way to drive engagement and get as many replies as you can from that image animation. And in the next sheet, I will share some examples and ideas for all the people who even did not know that this was possible, and for the ones who already heard about it or even use it. I hope this will be helpful as well. For all the people who want to know more about this approach, feel always free to connect with me on Facebook, and I can send over tons of experiments and example strategies. You can also send a reminder after approaching the people in the second message, and to make it more visible what I actually mean with such kind of things is that after the connection request, you can just send some nice GIF animation. And actually the left one, that's our lovely colleague Amy. She's part of the expanding marketing team, and every time if people accept a connection request, she just shared such kind of a GIF animation with a small personalization on top and just at the first name over there. I wrote a connection request, as you remembered, in the first sales navigator search strategy I shared. And in that strategy, we congrats the people with the new job roles. And as you see here, it's our colleague Ivan who really opened the champagne. So he was not only and just telling about it in the connection request, but after accepting the connection request, boom, he's there with a bottle of champagne, as he mentioned in the connection request, to just celebrate the new job role, which will give tons of really cool replies from people which are more open to have a conversation with you, just because the simple fact that you're different than all the outdated approaches they receiving actually every day. And to keep the conversation going, you see a call to action image, and you can define tons yourself, but the most easiest and the best working is just creating a GIF animation of yourself you can do it through your mobile phone, for example, with the app Lively. And then you can convert a photo to a GIF animations or a series of photos. And what you see here is our colleague Sharon. And because the simple fact that you use a whiteboard, you can create tons of different animations of it, because you can use and change the dynamic content. And as you see in this example here, we are using a personalization in the first name, and here we will place the profile image from their LinkedIn on it. And it doesn't matter if we send it to 110 or 100 people, it will each and every time replace it for the right person in this case. But it will give you the opportunity to just send a smaller question, and it's a little bit more friendly than the long sentences I see people are using. And it's going wrong again. We're going backwards instead of forward. So let's speed up a bit from here. There are still people which are not replying on these messages. And if you want to keep on going with adding messages, images in your messaging, and then you can just send a simple reminder. And just as inspiration, it can also be just a simple image. In this case, with again our colleague Ivan, just on paper where we place some dynamic content on it. Again, if you sign up for the Hyperize as well, they have more than 70, I think maybe 77 templates available already for you, so you can get your hands on it and play around with it yourself. Our blog site is filled with tons of content as well, and how you can use some examples actually for your own. So these are the kind of replies you will receive from people which engage actually with such a GIF animation. And as you see, people are still really love it because it's new, it's fresh, it's not overused, not that many people use it, and definitely not that many people are using it the right way. And so take advantage of it straight away. If you still think that LinkedIn is your #1 platform, I definitely and should strongly recommend to personalize as much as you can. And now I hear a lot of people talking. It's not only about the LinkedIn. So I prepared an easy to use and a small omni-channel sales funnel as well, just with the same two tools, Expandy and Hyperize. And what I actually did is that the starting point is LinkedIn. And that's at least always my starting point, because it at the end has the best data and the best search filters to build some really cool lists. And the first step is that in this case, you're gonna outreach all these people from that list you created with, in this case, Expandy, and then it's fully automated with random time delays between all these kind of actions and connection requests, just to keep things super safe. But after the connection request, we will shoot a webhook out where we forward the email and the name to the webhook. And I guess most people who are joining this webinar today are familiar with tools like Integromat or Zapier, just the middlemen which can connect Expandy with the app you are using yourself. And I see people are using different kind of email tools. A lot of Expandy users are using HubSpot, for example, and Salesforce. So actually, it doesn't matter which kind of tool you use. Zapier is the middleman in between here, and it will just transfer the people who accept your connection request automatically to, in this case, to HubSpot or whatever tool you use. And I think tools like Zapier, they are connectable with maybe 2K tools. So for sure, the tool you use is also connectable with Zapier. So you can actually set up an automatically sequence with just a simple step. If people are accepting your connection request, you will push that name and that email to the webhook. The webhook send it over to the email tool you're already using. And then you can embed the Hyperize part with the personalization in your email as well there. And then you can send over a GIF animation or a personalized image in your email as well, just to say thanks for the connection. Maybe not everyone is that active as we are on LinkedIn. And so keep in mind that maybe some people, and you can believe it yourself, only look once a week in their LinkedIn. And then it's a very handy way to be top of mind, also with just a small and a nice note on the email as well. And if people click on the email in the image, then it's wonderful what you can do with Hyperize, because you can design a personalized landing page. And if they click from the email image on the landing page, you will forward them to, let's say, a page you design for them on a personal way, with their logo in it, with their company name in it, with their own name in it, and why they actually should book a call with you. It will increase with at least 30% in the tests I did myself with my team, the booked appointments. And then everybody is for sure very curious, how can you do such things? So in the next sheet is actually what I did. As in this example, we have again here our colleague Amy, and every time if a people from her Expandi campaign accept a connection request, we just push a notification to the webhook, and the webhook pushes the email out, in this case to the tool we are using ourselves. And as you see, it shoot out and personalized a GIF animation with some fun in it, and not to push, just not to be salesy, just to catch up also through the email. And if people click on the email here, and they will be forwarded to the personalized landing page. And because of the domain and the name in the email, we will show the logo of the company in this case, and that's going all to our amazing friends from Hyperize. And if people have a personal email address, then you can set a default animation in there. And for example, you can say just you, and then it will always show you instead of the company logo. This is a dynamic placeholder you can create with a widget. It's just a company name. And along this page, you see that there's more personalization used. Again, an Hyperize image here. It's actually the same image as you use in one of the campaigns in Expandi, but just again with their name in the whiteboard and why they actually should book a call with, in this case, Amy or Sharon. And that means that it's more friendly and people are more likely to just book a call if they can see what you can actually expect from such a call. For example, they will walk you in 30 minutes through everything you need to know about the best approaches to do LinkedIn outreach. We will provide you with a 7-day free trial. And on top of that, we will give an ebook with 10 top performing templates. And we have a dedicated support for everyone who needs help on building such kind of things. And so that could actually easily trigger people to be more open to book a call. And it's something, let's be honest, that's not used by everyone already. And things which are new, they are more bringing just better results. So I think this hopefully were some valuable insights from my side. And if I remember correctly, then I have just in one of the last sheets, because too many people are asking me always, what about LinkedIn algorithms? What are they changing? What can you actually do? Just to be honest, we can't grant anything. LinkedIn is in black box, and it's unfortunately not the case that if I say it's one default number, they are not, they are much more clever than before. And so a lot of things can trigger such kind of problems on LinkedIn. But what I from own experience should recommend for everybody who is new to automation and who just want to get better results, keep some guidelines and some rules in mind. Yeah? And the most important one is actually that's not a numbers game anymore. Yeah? It's not that we're going to call 100 people today and then we still hope that we have 2 people who reply or who pick up the phone and who where we can book a call with. That's not the case. People will leave the platform. LinkedIn is trying to avoiding that. And it really, believe me, it doesn't matter if you're doing things manually, if you're using automation, or if you outsource everything to a VA. It's just the behavior of the user. And if you don't play in line with the rules or not be open to change to be in line with these kind of rules, then it will be a tough time for you on LinkedIn in the next coming year. And just a small summary, I should always recommend if you decide to use a third-party app, for example, a scrape tool, or for example, a tool like Expandy, pay also for a LinkedIn subscription. And the next thing is that if it's your first time to use any type of automation, warm up your profile properly. Send please not more than 3% of the total amount of your first degree connections at the moment that you start. Make also sure that you make first a couple of 100 connections manually before you decide to use any automation tool on your profile. Keep your pending invites below the 500. And with tools like Expandy, you can automatically withdraw pending invites after a specific amount of days. And let's be honest, after 10 days, who will still accept your connection request? It's a very, very low percentage. So at the end, it doesn't make that much sense to just wait with that. It's just a trigger for LinkedIn to see as well people who have too many invites. They are just focused on spamming and spamming and spamming too many people. And again, that's what they not want. Try to invite as many second degree connections as you want, and keep in mind that you'll be open to try new strategies. So came a bit more out of your comfort zone, because I expect that LinkedIn will count in the next coming period. If your acceptance rate is 60%, on average over the last 3 days, and it's possible that they will came up with such kind of a flags like the weekly limit. Maybe some of us already saw this type of notification in LinkedIn. And if your acceptance rate is below the 60% on average, make sure that you a little bit more tempered with shooting out connection requests and keep them somewhere around 25 and 50 connection requests. It's a combination of a lot of intelligent triggers on LinkedIn side, and at the end, we all don't know 100% sure which kind of things this will trigger. For example, Expandy is working with one of Dutch best data science companies to see if we can recognize some patterns, but unfortunately, they're constantly changing some things, so it will be hard to find such things out, but we are really doing our best. And the other thing is by providing as many valuable insights and in-depth and step-by-step guides, where I always put a lot of time in to help you out with some templates, with sequences and strategies. Please be open to use these ones, because you will really achieve better results. If you have any questions, just feel free to connect with me on Facebook. And I really want to thank everybody together with Andre for joining this webinar. I hope that there are some valuable insights and tips you can use yourself. And as a small present, we will give you from Expandy a 30-day free trial for every profile you are going to add this month. We have 2 ways to proceed on that. You can shoot out an email to Ivan at expandy.io. He's our head of support. Or you can just reach out through the live chat in Expandy and request, share your email address and your name, and request the 30-day free trial code because you joined this webinar. And of course, the same is for my lovely friend Andre. He has a 30-day extended free trial as well for the ROIplan. And I think you want to share and mention himself as well, the right link, Andre, is that correct?
Yes, I have shared it in the chat.
Oh,
but
okay. Yeah, I stopped sharing sharing my screen now. So
yes, I will send the links as well. So you'll get these free bonuses from us. So you can try the software, boss of software. And feel free to reach out to us with any questions. Now, can you please give us a favor? I would like all of you to switch on the camera. I want to make a quick photo of all of us. So just switch on the camera. I would be very grateful to you. So I'm super excited to see more than 100 people are still online. 90 minutes, 1 hour and a half. Just a second, I will make a small picture of all of us. Thanks a lot. And you guys, I would be very grateful if you'll make a picture and just make a small tweet or Facebook post or LinkedIn post, whatever works for you, just providing the testimonial or feedback about this webinar. I hope it was very helpful to you. So that would be as well a help for us. So now we can move to the Q&A. Let's do it for like 5-6 minutes. I will check some questions you have asked in the chat. Just to give you an idea, I feel that we have answered most of the questions, but as for the technical questions about Expandia, about dashboards, automation, etc., feel free to reach out to Ivan or to Stefan, and they will help you. As well, they have lots of articles and videos and webinars on technical usage of Expandia. So this is something that we have covered. So I will just check the questions that are related to campaigns, to some, let's say, to some technical stuff. Just a second. I'm scrolling it and
yeah. And while you are searching for that, Andre, I saw some interesting question came by from Elisa. Is that when the option will came there to send emails to open profiles or to people which are third-degree connection, and actually that could be a really handy thing as well for people who has an email required restriction. Expandi is working on that. And I expect by end of the month, we can trial out an advanced workflow with an open in-mails. And on top of that, for the people who are really interesting to have a cool growth hack, just shoot me out a message over Facebook Messenger. And I will make you part of some nice experiments we will start running in the at least or definitely this month, with people you can send messages to even if you are not connected. So this will be the bomb, but we will keep it a little bit low profile and under the radar. But I really appreciate everyone who was joining here. So if you want to get advance of that one, I can put you on the list, and just shoot me over a message.
Okay, so I found some questions you guys asked. So the first question is, how do you make a list of people following a company? In this example, Command AF. So unfortunately, you can't scrape the, let's say, LinkedIn page followers right now. Maybe Stefan in future will figure out how to do it. So far, it's not possible. So what I'm doing, basically, Command AF, for example, they regularly post the content, and their team is regularly sharing content on LinkedIn. So what you can do is just picking up any given post, copy the URL of that post and add it to Expander. And basically Expander will make a list of all the people who engaged with that post. So this is pretty easy. This is how I do it. Next question is, are there any pro tips to increase connection acceptance rates? Basically, as I mentioned, from my point of view, the best way is just, it could be, there was one tip on, like, let's say, personalize it on the, let's say, on if you are from the same city or from, you just graduated from the same university. But I always, just to, to generalize that answer, I always prefer to connect on some common interest. So you can find, I gave you multiple examples of it. So that's the best way from my point of view. Next, how do you connect with people that attended a webinar? So in this particular case, you won't be able to scrape the people here from Zoom, obviously. You need to reach out to me or to Stefan and ask for attendance list, but of course we are not sharing this data. So what can you do? You can, in most cases, just this event is exceptional, but all the previous events I was hosting, I was creating LinkedIn pages for it, and I was inviting my LinkedIn connections. So this is the easiest way to, to scrape this data. So you can open this, like this virtual event that was created on LinkedIn, and you can see all the people that signed up for that event. That's it. So this is how you can scrape this data. Next, there were lots of technical questions. Or maybe if you guys have some questions, okay, I will just scroll down. If the person has not allowed their emails to be displayed on LinkedIn, then Expander cannot scrape it, correct?
Yeah, that's indeed correct. So in that case, we are depending on what they have make public on their profile. But an easy workaround could be that you build a webhook, and all the people who accept your connection request, you can, based on the name, the first name, the last name, and for example the company name, you can push a webhook to snuff.io or to hunter.io to try to find the email addresses based on the name. And I think besides these two tools, there are tons of different other tools which can handle that job very easy.
Again, technical question, which industries have the most success with the platform? I feel that it's not about the industries. Obviously, it's about your target audience, first of all. LinkedIn is not, unfortunately, a silver bullet. It's like, like lots of people tend to treat LinkedIn as, like, let's say, a huge database of B2B contacts. But let's be honest, for example, if you're operating in, I don't know, manufacturing like industry, you're producing some like specific equipment, your target audience or target job roles are product engineers, for example. They might not be active LinkedIn users, and LinkedIn and Expander won't be a solution for this. It's not even about Expander, it's about the platform. So you need to find another channel. So that's the goal. To answer that question, I feel that you need to think about your ideal customer profile. What do you think, Stefan?
Yeah, and then maybe additional on top of that, just set some handy filters from people who are more active. With these easy tabs I shared in the Sales Navigator could definitely contribute to make it a little bit easier to engage with these people, because at the end, it's all about how active are people on LinkedIn. So I think, yeah, it is a combination, but it's definitely a great starting point, the way you suggest, Andre.
Okay, so what else we have? So the link I have shared for ROIplan, it's not working. I will just send you a link once more. Sorry, it was private message. here it is. Okay, one more question. If there are any plan for premium to premium free in mail, so we can safely message third-degree connection. I feel this is a question to Stefan.
Yeah, it's in development, and we are already testing this option in Expanded. It's just not public yet, and we expect that if it passes all the tests, we can make it public somewhere by end of this month, or at least within community in our Facebook group who can play around with it as well. So Elisa, I don't want to disappoint you again. So believe me, this time we will come close to what I share at the moment in terms of the time frame.
There was one more question. In our region, I see most people register on LinkedIn with their personal email, not work email. Would you suggest still using it for automated follow-ups? From my point of view, yes. But what you can do, and that would be a practical tip for you, in order to increase the, let's say, reply rates and avoid being, avoid getting like any kind of penalty because of GDPR, what I recommend you to do, always reach out on LinkedIn first, and then you can use it as an excuse for email follow-up. So the email follow-up should be sent like several days later, and you can say something, hey, Stefan, I PM'd you on LinkedIn, but probably you didn't see my message, and that's why I decided to follow up by email. So you just put that line that you did the first step, you have a legitimate reason to follow up by email, and you can say that you find that email. So that's it. So just provide context that first of all you tried to reach out on LinkedIn. Just a question. Lots of testimonials. Thanks a lot, guys, for all these kind words. It sounds like a music to my ears, to be honest. So I love it.
We should slowly consider a new edition, Andre, I guess, right?
Yes, absolutely. A question from Jessica. One problem we are having with post campaigns is finding posts with enough engagement. A lot of times, even relevant influencers in our area do not generate enough likes for us to use them as leads. Any tips for finding popular posts on LinkedIn easily? So try to use hashtags. And again, just keep in mind that it's not about the volume, to be honest. So to give you a more precise example, a customer of mine, they produce hardware for smart homes. Basically, their target audience is smart home integrators or installation companies. And what we were doing, so we were searching for different keywords that are related to that specific industry. And we tried to see if there are any hashtags that can include these keywords. And basically, that's the way you can find that like in this small industry, there are people, that we can't call them as like influencers like Gary Vee or whatever, So, but these are so-called micro influencers, and you can see that engagement, like 30, 40, 50 people commented or liked the post, etc. Of course, you need to exclude the people from that company, but this is how you can identify these posts as well. So try to use hashtags, try to use some communities. Unfortunately, communities are still like a bit, I used to call LinkedIn communities as LinkedIn graveyard, but they promised to improve it. So I saw there are some improvements, but still it's far from ideal. Anyway, try to figure out, maybe you'll see some really good communities on LinkedIn. Who knows? Okay, so there were questions about recording. There was a question about expanding instead of lem list. So just to give you an idea, instead expanding lem list are two complementary tools, but not tools that substitute each other. So Expand is for LinkedIn outreach, Lemlist is for email outreach, and it's better to use them in a bundle. At least this is what we are doing at fullfunnel.io. So they're not against each other. Okay. Do you have, that was a question for me. Do you have any experience or success story using this approach at the levels of C-suite or one level below stakeholders from large organizations? Yes, absolutely. But for my company, for fullfunnel.io, so I can't share, like, let's say, external examples, but can share my personal example. So, and you can probably you have seen that I shared some, like, just I made screenshots from my inbox. So it's not just a theoretical example of campaign that you can theoretically execute and get some results, but you saw that these are real examples. So this is absolutely possible. Technical questions. Let me scroll down. Guys, if you have any more questions, feel free to post them in the comments. I will check if we have something. Can you pause? So as for GDPR, just I would like to cover that question as well. So in terms of GDPR, you know, like in 2 weeks we are hosting, and this is good. This is good for you. In 2 weeks we are hosting a webinar with Lemlist. So it will be about outreach best practices. So you will have this knowledge from me, Expandy, from Stefan, and from guys from Lemlist. So we'll touch the GDPR topic, show up in 2 weeks. It will be extremely valuable for you. But what I would like to say, always keep in mind that famous quote, people buy from people they know, like, and trust. And before reaching out, it's always great to warm up your accounts, try to engage with them. So these people at least are aware that you exist. So this is critical. And in this case, if you had some conversations on LinkedIn, then you'll always have this legitimate reason, you know, you can say, and it's not against GDPR, because if you'll open GDPR, you'll see that there is like a quote, they say, if you have a legitimate reason to reach out, then it's totally fine. And if you'll use some tactics we have shared today, if you'll start LinkedIn demand generation, you'll always have opportunities to start conversations on LinkedIn. And when you have conversations, that's your excuse for email outreach. You can always say that I talk to you on LinkedIn, and this is how, that's why I decided to reach you out. So it's not against GDPR, just to give you a practical usage of it. And lots of people, especially if they are aware about you, if it's not just a cold outreach to a random person who has never heard about you, in this case, you are not breaking the rules. So it's totally GDPR compliant. Okay, so we are like, we expected to finish it in 1 hour, but it's almost 1 hour and 40 minutes. It was pretty cool to have all of you today. I'm still super excited to see that we have 70 people, you know, still online. That's mind blown. And like we had 200 people online with 400 people signed up. So it's like 50% of people came, but I know lots of people are from Australia and from Asia, and they told they unfortunately can't show up because of time zone. So thanks a lot for your time. I hope it was valuable for you. Again, would be very grateful if you'll make a post on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, whatever works for you, tag us and just share a quick testimonial. That would be super helpful. In a couple of hours, I will send you a recording, slides, etc. Everything I have promised, so don't worry about this. And as I mentioned, in 2 weeks, we'll have a new event with Lemlist. So come, it will be, join us. It will be that valuable as today, and hope to see you to see you on our future events. So have a great day or evening, depending on where you are, and see you guys. Cheers.